Good day everyone. So apparently custom artifact loadouts are coming to Genshin Impact, although you'll only get 2 per character, which is crazy because other games that I'm not going to mention have at least 10 slots, which is really weird. But regardless, we're getting artifact loadouts and nothing is going to change. The reason nothing's going to change is very, very simple. The fundamental content that we have in the game to really warrant using that artifact set hasn't really changed throughout the entire history of Genshin Impact's existence, and hence it's almost the same as like when you're playing with a Genshin skin mod. Yes, sure, your character looks like cool, you have a new outfit, but if the fundamental content in the game, the fundamental content offering isn't fresh, isn't being renewed, isn't being expanded upon, if your characters don't have new abilities or skill trees or rogue dungeon events, etc., etc., then nothing is really going to change. It's just going to be the same old, except that the same old is slightly less frustrating. And I suppose this is really why I'm a bit not really that excited about the artifact loadouts. Yes, they are okay that we finally get them. Yes, it sucks we're only going to get 2. Yes, it is a bit ambiguous whether they mean the generated ones that the game gives you are the only ones that can be saved instead of the ones that you hand custom made and like hand pick yourself. I don't know, there's like a bit of ambiguity in the dev post. I'm not going to get into that debate, but assuming you just get artifact loadouts, the question then becomes, well, so what? You see, a lot of the competition to Genshin Impact have already solved artifact loadouts. They have things like being able to craft materials wherever you are on the game. They have things like you being able to get character ascension materials and talent books on any given day of the week. You can always redeem your commissions from the menu system. You don't need to go to Catherine, etc., etc. In other words, what I'm really getting at is, even if we have a little bit of, finally the Genshin devs added X, Y, and Z to the game, those things fundamentally still don't change the content offering of the game. And that is the point. What the Genshin devs really need to do is get to the stage where they're equal to the competition. They need to slash their gacha rates to being max 70 pulls, 1% pull rate on characters, no 50-50 or whatever on the weapon banner, just get it like in Wuthering Waves. And then what you do is you launch a massive 6.0 expansion with significant vehicles to traverse in all the regions, overworld, etc., etc. There's so many things that Genshin needs to do to modernize, such that I feel like the addition of artifact loadouts is just a case of too little too late. You need to revolutionarily change Genshin. You need to fundamentally go and buff all their units, create more stories, launch more skins, make the game feel dynamic and alive. That's why, to me, the fact that people get excited about something that should have been in the game since 2.0 is really kind of misplaced. And look, I'm saying this as someone that's played through the game. I've done the story quest. I've sat through all of it with the unskippable dialogue. I've 100%ed a lot of the regions. I've used mods to enhance my gameplay experience. I've broken out of bounds in the game for those people that follow my channel in very creative ways. I've seen more than most people have seen. I've played the Spiral Abyss literally in 2023 and 2024 more than 5,000 times over. I understand Genshin. I love Genshin. It's one of my favorite games. But ultimately, when I go and play the competition, because I'm tired, the competition looks better. No. Sorry. I meant to say the competition is better. There is no denying it. Genshin is a bit of a dated game. It is clear the developers have chosen not to reinvest all of the profits back into the game and to really create memorable experiences, apart from the music being really, really good. And it unfortunately shows. It shows that there is definitely a shift in priorities for the company in terms of what they want to do. And that is unfortunately what we feel as players. I mean, think about it. If I had to rewind this and say to you in like 2021, the only end game we're going to have is still the Spiral Abyss and then just a new Imaginarium Theater mode. by by mid 2025. I think most people would probably they would probably be in disbelief because Genshin should have 7 end game modes by now with a shared primogem tally, such that over any rolling 2-week window you can play any of the game modes that can count towards your allotted primogem like reward that you can get. We've covered this before on the channel. There are many sensible ways of doing end game activities that are exciting, that are fun, but you know what, those are suggestions I'm not going to repeat. What I will say, however, is that for Genshin to remain relevant, they should move away from the gacha mindset where the whole point is to sell you characters that do more damage than all the characters, and where you've got a very limited amount of content that is suited only for the latest characters that they're trying to sell. And they should move towards a game where the open world becomes effectively your playground, where character abilities can evolve, where you've got all sorts of cool and crazy things that can modify, that can morph, that can just give you a stupid experience where people can just come around, meme, and have fun. Because if you don't do that, people are just going to jump ship. And once they're on a new ship, well, you know what? You're never going to get them back. So, in my opinion, artifact loadouts are really a drop in the ocean, and I can see the drop from my one ship, but my ship is currently heading to Renacita shores somewhere else. So unfortunately, that is the state of the game. And I mean, look, it's a bit of a warning to Genshin as well. People like me really, like, I mean, I've got lots of C6 characters in Genshin, and I think a lot of other people also have C6 or C2 characters or whatever. Spending is not a problem. I'll be honest with you. For me, spending is not a problem. The problem is if there is nothing that warrants me to be loyal to the game, then I'm not going to spend, and I'll spend it elsewhere. And I think that's the one thing Oyo still hasn't like kind of clicked in their head, because other gacha games, other non-gacha games even, actually reward you for loyalty. They reward you for the time you've played, for the amount of money you've spent. And we are literally in a situation, like if you saw my birthday comparison video between Genshin and Wuthering Waves, where games like Wuthering Waves give you 10 times the amount of content, even if you've spent 10 times as less, comparatively. Oh well, okay, look, that is my complaint video for the week. The rest of the week's videos will be all about fun and breaking the game and doing some stupid stuff, so do look forward to that for those of you that watch regularly. And other than that, let me know what you think of artifact loadouts. I'm genuinely not that excited about it. And look at that, we're not going to reach the 8-minute mark, so no ad revenue for me. Alright, thanks for watching.